What's up, guys?
Howdy, brothers.
Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Water.
I am your co-host, Jess.
And I am your co-host, Liv. And today we have a Just Us episode.
We love this for us. It's been a minute. We're really excited to do this episode because we felt like we haven't had some one-on-one time with you guys in a minute.
Yeah, we've really been going hard with the guests this in season 7.
And the guests have been slapping, if I do say so myself.
No, I'm not mad about it at all. But for today's episode, we kind of just want to sit down, chat with you guys, catch you up on where we're at in, I guess, our lives and in our business. And it's been 6 months since launching our creative agency, Mood. And just the other day, last week, we sat down and just took another look at our goals and our trajectory and just a bunch of things. We kind of just brainstormed.
Finances, whatnot.
Yeah. So we thought it was perfect timing to do an episode like this where we catch you guys up on everything and especially the things that we've learned so far, being 6 months into
our small business.
Yeah, into a business together. But before we get into it, we want to thank our show sponsor, Celsius.
Celsius, never doing us wrong.
Celsius. You guys already know the vibe. Today we are sharing a sparkling strawberry guava.
Because that's all we need right now.
That's all we need.
A little bit of sharing because Celsius doesn't fuck around.
It doesn't fuck around, and you guys already know we're on the train. We get everyone on the train. It is healthy energy, accelerates metabolism, and burns body fat.
This is the perfect pre-anything drink. I have one every single day.
Okay.
It's great for pre-workout. It's great for situations like this where we're just needing a little boost of energy before we film the podcast, because we may or may not have sat here for an hour trying to get our lives together, and then we cracked open the Celsius and we were ready to fucking go.
If I don't have a Celsius before recording, I quite literally cannot do the show.
It just doesn't feel right.
Not to be high maintenance or a diva, but I need it. It is my pre-show drink.
Oh my god.
What?
That's so funny. Imagine we were going just before a live show. We were where's our fucking Celsius?
Okay, you want to know something funny? This past weekend was Memorial Day weekend, and
boop, boop.
And Tyler's family, they all know that I can't drink, but they went out on a beer run before we went out to the island for the day, or out on the boats. They got me a Celsius.
No way.
Yes.
That's so cute.
I was like, you guys.
What flavor did they get you?
Fucking peach vibe.
Oh, we'd love that for you.
I know. And I was like, thank you. Now I have a drink for the day.
Look at you.
So sweet. Anyways, they know the vibe. They were like, I heard you got the hookup on Celsius. I'm like, hell yeah, brother.
Fucking link in our bio, brothers.
All right, link in our bio. You guys know the deal. And before we get into the thick of our conversation, let's go over our quote of the week.
Hell yeah, brothers. As you guys know, we're taking a little hiatus from weekly challenges just because we wanted to be re-inspired, and these quotes have really been hitting. I've been doing some daily mantras. I've been looking at quotes that inspire me and kind of just carrying them with me throughout my day.
So good.
And this is the one that resonates with us this week.
Okay, so this was posted by one of our good friends, Chelsea, who we actually had on the podcast. And it is, you are the greatest project you will ever work on.
And period.
It speaks for itself.
It really does.
It truly does, because it's we can work on the relationships in our lives. We can work on our businesses in our lives. We can work on our passion projects. But if you're not working on yourself, it's reflected in everything else that you do. Yeah.
And I mean, so much in this life is temporary, but we aren't.
We are.
We are in the big grand scheme. I don't know how deep we're trying to get, but you know what I mean. The only permanence that we have in our lives,
is ourselves.
Respectively, is ourselves.
Yeah.
So you are the greatest project you will ever work on.
Yeah. So think about that. Take it with you when you're thinking about your personal development and just what you want to work on. And that's about that. That's about it. That's about it. Period.
All right, so let's do a little catch up, brother.
Yes.
I saw that you had a really fun Memorial Day weekend.
I did indeed. Speaking of which, I was with Tyler's family up in Palm Coast. It was super fun, and we actually were all together. They usually do Memorial Day every year, but this one was extra special because his uncle, who had COVID for fucking 2 weeks and was on a ventilator for
he was there
14 days. Yeah.
That's why. Good?
Yeah, he's good. I mean, of course, he has to recover and get his strength back, but he was there, and it was just really sweet. So many people came out, and everyone came together. We all wore matching shirts to surprise him that said "Catch Fish, Not COVID." And like
That's so cute.
And like hashtag Team Cool Pop, which is the name of his boat, Cool Pop.
Aww.
So it was really sweet, but oh my god, it was so much fun. We played fucking slip and slide, flip cup, and it was great. Did you see like my compilation video I made on TikTok?
Yes, it was really cute.
It was so funny. They go hard.
They really do. No, they don't fuck
They were,
around.
like,
I'm like,
eating
where can I find an in-law family like this
Yeah.
where I can just like, this is my ideal fucking weekend. I'm
Dude.
trying to play slip and slide, flip cup.
And like take the jet skis out. It's just such a good time. And now his cousins are at an age where they can drink, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
I love that for you.
And I don't really have like family like that down
No,
here.
you don't.
So it's so nice.
See, I have family like that, but they fucking suck.
No, I don't. Maybe.
But I'm like, but I would never willingly spend a weekend with them.
Anywho, how was your weekend, brother? What were you up to?
It was good. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm in
Been
this
on a
like,
little health kick.
I have, low key.
I love it.
And I don't know. I just feel like I'm in this like stage where I think I'm officially off like some people's radars. So like people don't like invite me out to stuff. So like if I'm not invited out, like I'm definitely not texting people and being like, what are you getting into tonight?
What's the plans? What's the sitch for tonight?
But, like I'm just not doing that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just really like, I stayed home. I got like one drink on like Saturday at the Freehold, which is like
Your go-to
my
little
go-to
bar.
spot. And then I was in bed by like 10:30 or 11.
Maybe we shouldn't say your go-to spot.
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. I'll put on for the Freehold any day.
No. I'm saying like
Stalkers, yeah. Yeah.
Keep that motherfucking thing on me.
Yeah, you're not wrong. This weekend was crazy.
There were like 3 shootings this weekend in Miami. Can we talk about that for a second?
I mean,
What the fuck?
it was crazy. There was a shooting literally right outside my building.
There were 3 in Miami.
I was on my balcony and I heard the gunshots.
No.
Yeah.
Welcome to my life.
I heard the first gunshot.
No.
And I went out there because I was like, that was really loud. I was like, either that's a firework that's right next to me or that's a gunshot.
And it's probably echoing off the building, so it's louder.
And so I go out there.
Oh my God.
And then I hear, and I'm looking out, I'm looking for where it might have happened. And then I hear like 6 more shots.
Where? What?
Oh, right downstairs. Literally right downstairs. They were covered like by some trees, so I couldn't see exactly what was going down. But it was quite literally like no more than 100 yards from my building.
What is happening to Miami?
Yeah, like our building pretty much got put on lockdown.
No.
They like closed everything. They upped the security. Yeah.
Oh hell.
A lot of people died this weekend, dude. Really sad, really crazy.
Oh my God. Y'all be careful out there.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Miami is
turning into like really something else. I don't know. It's quite dangerous.
quite sus.
in the streets.
Yeah. Stay
all
safe,
right.
guys.
Anyways, let's move on to our episode. But before we get into it, we're going to say thank you to a few of our show sponsors, and then we'll see you on the other side. Art of Tea is an organic tea company based in Los Angeles, California, on a mission to impact as many lives as possible through tea by creating a healthy, delicious, and sustainable experience with each brew and blend.
They believe in using only the highest quality ingredients and source all of their teas and botanicals directly from the source. Art of Tea sources from the top 2% of all teas produced in the world. They hand blend and package all of their whole leaf teas in-house in Los Angeles. Every time you order from Art of Tea, your order will be made fresh just for you.
And you can also take their tea quiz for personalized recommendations about what you would enjoy based on your preferences and lifestyle, which personally I love. They have over 100 tea blends to choose from. You guys can use our discount code Whiskey and Water 20. It's valid for 20% off your entire purchase at artoftea.com, and it is valid through August 31st, 2021. Guys, go get yourselves some tea.
Check them out. As we've talked about on the show before, we should seek out what's right for us and not compromise on what's most important. Our relationships should add value to our lives, especially in the bedroom. So why don't we think the same way about our sex toys?
Dame Products is a woman-owned sex toy company making the next generation of vulva-tested, vulva-approved vibrators. Founded by a sex educator and an engineering whiz, Dame develops toys with the help of real humans and couples like you. They're closing the pleasure gap and helping the world one vulva at a time.
Their vibrators and accessories are made with medical-grade silicone, smart design principles, and lots of love, earning glowing press from the New York Times, W Magazine, and many more.
So whether you're a couple looking for an extra boost where it matters or a journey on self-exploration, we're sure they'll earn a spot on your nightstand.
And the best part, Dame offers hassle-free returns within 60 days, so your satisfaction is literally guaranteed. You can go to dameproducts.com/WW today for 10% off.
Again, that is dameproducts.com/WW today for 10% off.
Go get you guys some fucking toys.
Yes.
We can attest to this. They are fire. That's all I'm saying.
They are great. We will leave it at that. Trust us. We got you, brothers. We wouldn't do you wrong.
We would never lead you astray.
Go shop. W&W is the code. And we also want to talk about Fitness Realm, which you guys already know the deal. We've talked about them before.
I'm trying to build my dump truck. It's dump truck season. It's fatty season. And you guys know that Fitness Realm is where I'm going for all of the fitness related inquiries.
Yeah, so they have articles, they have products, they have vetted all of the things that they have within the actual website, which is really nice. Like we've mentioned before, you don't have to go looking through reviews and trying to find the best product. It's literally just a one-stop shop. You have everything you need right there.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, so go check out Fitness Realm, link in our description.
So we wanted to do a little bit of like what we've learned thus far.
Thus far,
guys, it's still
we're
still brand new. And
we got a long way to go.
And we don't think that we are the authority on any of this, but you know, we started this podcast and essentially this change so that we could bring you guys through the evolution of our small business.
Yeah, and really the reason we rebranded is because it was like almost exactly aligned for when we were launching the agency, and a big persuader for us, or motivation, was to share this journey of like starting this agency and what we're gonna learn and the challenges that we're gonna run into. So yeah, this is just a dedicated that episode.
So one of the biggest, and I guess like the most difficult obstacles to have built out was the infrastructure. And what we mean by infrastructure is essentially like
the way everything operates.
The way your business operates. Like there's no template for how to like run a business. Like of course you can always learn like, you know.
There probably is. We just didn't go to business school.
Right.
Yeah. And
but the thing is, it's also different in our field.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a creative agency, like a content creation duo, I don't really hear a lot about that, especially when it's like on a level of like you're trying to scale it, not just like you're freelancing and calling it an agency, which, you know, power to you if that's what you're doing. But that, and just like this is, I feel like, a really new field.
It is.
Like in general. So of course business school will teach you a lot of the fundamentals, but you know, you really have to be on the ground running to build out an infrastructure.
Yeah, and I feel like if we were approaching this with business degrees or whatever it may be, I think they teach very traditional, like if you were to have a storefront or
economics,
or if you were to own a store that sold any type of merchandise, like that's where you would get, I think, the foundation for running that type of business. But like you said, this is a creative agency. Like I don't know if there's any like footpath.
Yeah, I mean, there's no path for us necessarily to follow. Like we are creating the path as we go, essentially.
There may be one out there, but it's not something that we're following. So I think definitely the most frustrating, but also challenging in a good way, is building out that infrastructure, because the thing I can compare it to is just like you're going through a thick forest and you're taking a fucking machete and you're literally just swiping away all of the thick like trees, because that's what it feels like my brain.
Such an interesting analogy.
Yeah, I mean that's what it feels like for my brain sometimes though, because it's like we're
carving the path.
I'm feeling we're like creating different neurological pathways in our brains, if that makes sense.
Yeah 100%.
Like we're not copying any sort of pattern or structure or anything. We have nothing to follow. So it's like we're just making up the next best step as we go.
Not to mention the type of people we are, like just by nature, we are leaders and we are people that like to create our own path. So even if there was, you know, something like this out there, I feel like we would be doing it our own way. Because we're just like that. Like we don't really like to follow in people's footsteps, and I feel like that's why we're here.
Yeah, and this relates to everything. Like when we talk about infrastructure, it's just like operating a business when it comes to dealing with clients, when it comes to
like client facing communications,
or when it comes to producing a photo shoot, when it comes to delivering our assets to our clients. It's like no one's showing us how to do this, or like what should be done, what should be said. Like we're literally just figuring it out as we go. And of course,
like you can like look at it and be like, oh well, wouldn't you just email that? But with the level that we're kind of it's trying to take it to and scale to, nothing, like not everything can be just done via email. You can't just like for every single client and every single asset delivery be emailing them over and then having a bunch of emails back and forth. Like there has to be a more efficient, automated way to do it. And so that's really what we mean when we're talking about infrastructure. It's not like, there is a standard operating procedure and it's like, okay, well, get the product, do the photo shoot, deliver the assets. Like, yes, on the surface level, that's what it looks like, but there is so much back and forth with the clients, with like the, receiving packages with X, Y, and Z. So it's like what we are trying to put in place is like the most automated, simple system that allows us to be as hands-off as possible.
Yeah, it's about building out these systems, and that's the most challenging part. And I think that's the hardest part of any new business is putting these systems in place, especially when there are so many services, platforms, and apps that can just automate things where you don't have to be, if you don't have to be sitting there, like, especially if it's something like e-com and you're selling a product, like you don't have to sit there printing every shipping label. Like there's a website that will automatically do that for you. And a lot of times it's like us getting frustrated at something and then being like, taking a step back and being like, oh wait, okay, this can have a better process to it where we don't have to be so hands-on, or we don't have to be so on top of it.
Yeah, what was the thing that, so like
the models.
Yeah, the models. So one lesson that we've like learned thus far is that we have we created an onboarding document. So like when we're onboarding a client, we send them over a Google form that asks them everything that would essentially be asked in an email, but it's recorded in a form, and then that form is transferred into a PDF that is then put with the client information so that we can access it very easily when we're on shoots, when we're like on the go. And one like little automation that we realized, like another step that we were taking unnecessarily, was sending them the model roster like after we've received product, like just anywhere like it felt natural to do it. But then we were like, we should just be putting this fucking model, and it's so simple. It's so simple, but just something that we had not thought of.
It was just an oversight on our end.
And it was putting the model roster in that onboarding document so that they could just choose then. So it's like
duh.
It's one of those things that we were like going back and forth on, and we're like, fuck, there has to be an easier way. And then we almost like, Olivia voiced it like as I thought it, and we were like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
that just needs to be in the onboarding
and
doc.
That's a perfect example, but it's literally been that for like every single situation where we're like, wait, why is this so complicated? Or like, why are we going back and forth so much with the client on this? Why can we figure out a better way to do it? And I think that is really the trick in scaling too, because it's like, had we not made any of those adjustments, we would only be able to have like 2 or 3 clients at a time, because it would be so much bandwidth back and forth.
Yeah. So I mean, it's all about like
the systems.
It's all about the system, but it's also just about learning as you go.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing in place to tell us this is how to run a creative agency. Get all of their info before. Find out what editing style they like. Like, these are all things that we had to develop on our own.
E-course coming soon.
Yeah, you are not wrong. Like, this is that type of shit.
But so along with the infrastructure comes, we realized somewhere in this process that we needed to have a standard operating procedure, which is,
or as we called it, an order of operations.
And there's a hilarious story behind this. But before we get into that, the SOP is something that is very common within the corporation world. And we just realized it's really beneficial for any business of any level, especially when you talk about onboarding someone, whether it be an intern or a part-time employee or a full-time employee. Like, having a standard operating procedure of how you run business is necessary. And it even is helpful for people you're already employed, like people who are already on your team who need to reference something. Because I know that came up with our assistant a few times. It's like, she was asking us questions, and had we had a standard operating procedure, she could have just referenced that about like the process of things, or what's next, what are next steps. It's like having that
although we knew the next steps, and, we hopefully expected her to be on board with those, but it's like, the SOP just,
it's the framework.
All of that.
It's the framework. But before we realized what it was technically an SOP, I was trying to, and this is what I mean by it feels like I'm in a fucking forest with a machete, because I'm like, we need some sort of like order of our business operations. And then the order of operations,
yeah, that sounds right.
Order of operations. Yeah, that's what it is. It's our order of operations. And we were all just like sold that that's what this was called. And then
she was like, you were listening to a podcast.
Or yeah, maybe that. Or I think I also Googled it, order of operations, because I also wasn't totally sold. I was like, I don't know, something about it sounds a little weird. I Google it. It's literally math. It is
a mathematical equation.
The order of operations is literally plus, minus, multiply, divide.
That. I'm like, mathematical equation.
I'm like, it's not even that.
It's not even that.
Like, there is nothing on Google that relates order of operations to business. It's literally math.
So that's where we're at in business.
Like, we were just calling. It's hilarious because we didn't go to business school.
Yeah, which that's cool. An SOP, I'm sure, is so standard.
It's literally, you're probably fucking first class that you take.
It's probably like comparable to ROI, return of investment.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably just.
And this is what happens when you start a business.
This is what happens when you drop out of your
without a
second and third year of college.
Without a business degree, but it's fine. Everything's fine. We will learn on our own time.
And we're going to be sharing with you guys. So today, guys, an SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedure.
You don't have to go $100,000 in debt for business school.
That's what we're here for, brothers.
So I think that's hilarious. And now
hilarious.
every time I see it, I just laugh.
We were dying.
But anyways, having that will be really helpful, and we currently don't have it done, but we're working on it.
Kennedy actually said that she's pretty far along with it, that's awesome, because it's also leading us into our next point, is that we recently hired our first dedicated mood employee,
which is really exciting.
It is really exciting. So her name is Caroline, and she actually was working alongside Kennedy for a while, but we tried to offload some things off of Kennedy's plate because it was just getting to be a lot, working on my stuff, working on Olivia's personal stuff, working on mood, and then also working on whiskey and water.
And when we had hired Kennedy, our current assistant, she knew she would be doing our personal brand collaborations and also the podcast. And then once we started mood, it made sense to give her an extra hour or so, or whatever it is, and let her handle mood stuff too. But it got to a point, and this was such a great lesson for us, and something we want to share with you guys, is that it got to a point where a lot of things were slipping through the cracks, and we were getting frustrated. We didn't know if it was us, like poor management on our part, or if it was a time thing, if we needed to give her more hours,
because we know that she's more than capable.
So we were kind of struggling for a while, and
it was kind of like we were struggling, just us, like mentally, on how to move forward from it, and
also not knowing if it was us. I think that was frustrating too.
We want to take accountability wherever we can,
always.
So that's always the first thing that we kind of do. Is it us? Like, can we be better about how we're assigning her tasks? Right. Can we be better about how we're, communicating with her? Like, what is off here, and how can we fix it? But we ended up bringing it to her attention, and, sat her down. And like, it's really hard for us because we don't want to ever come off as, mean bosses or unappreciative or negative or bitchy, anything of that nature. And there's a way to say everything. But it was also just really hard for us because we were like, how do we tell her that things have been not getting done and that it's unacceptable? Because of course, instance by instance, we brought it to her attention. And then, things were corrected then, but it was like on a larger scale thing. Like, how do we, stop this from happening? So we brought it to her attention, and she ultimately had a really good excuse, which was not even an excuse, a reason, yeah. Which was that she had the time, but she did not have the mental bandwidth to worry about, everything that's on Jessica's personal brands, everything that's on Olivia's personal brands.
Because, go ahead.
Everything that's going on with whiskey and water, and everything that's going on with mood, because
everything has so many moving parts.
So it's so tedious.
They really do. There are really so many little nuances for every single project, and every single project that she had on her plate. So after having that discussion, we were like, oh my God,
that makes so much sense.
You're so right. Like, we need to offload a few things off of your plate so that you can fully commit to the podcast, or fully commit to mood, or
so
whatever
that we can
it was.
Scale, because at the point that we're at, where things are falling through the cracks, we're like, well, we can't assign you more stuff if things are falling through the cracks, but we need you. And so we essentially came to this point where we were like, okay, well, first things first, let's offload our personal brands so that you can focus on Whiskey and Water and Mood for now. So Olivia ended up outsourcing some of her work to her sister, sister Noelle. And I ended up hiring Kennedy's associate, Caroline. And Caroline has been wonderful. Like, she has been so great because she was already working at almost as, I think, Kennedy's intern or, just associate in general, and working alongside a lot of our stuff already. So she was super up to speed, and it was really easy kind of meshing her into my personal stuff, and she had been killing it for so long. And so when we wanted to hire someone for Mood, and we felt like Mood was making enough money to start hiring someone to handle like the client facing communications and helping us with mood boards and shot lists and all of these like little details, it just felt like Caroline was the best fit because she's already working on my stuff. So Caroline is our first dedicated Mood employee.
And we're really so excited because just having someone who's going to be fully dedicated to Mood itself is such a relief off our shoulders. Yeah. And it really just feels like the perfect next step in the right direction.
It was just a great
fluid. Yeah, I felt aligned.
It's like we had this conversation with Kennedy. I hired Caroline. Caroline was killing it with my personal stuff. I felt like she'd be like the perfect fit for Mood because, of course, handling my personal stuff comes with a little bit of, handling Mood stuff. And she's really great with like brands and, emails and stuff like that, which is a lot of what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. So it felt like a really good flow. And I feel like we're really excited to.
So excited.
She's training this week. But
I could not be more excited.
Yeah.
So I feel like the lesson we've learned just from that is to almost just understand bandwidths and ours, of course, but especially when you're hiring like just other people's, and when you're hiring for a new business. I mean, I guess you could consider this a startup of sorts. Yeah. Like, I don't know what it would be considered, but I feel like when you're starting a business and you don't have those systems in place and you are scaling at a fast pace, it's really, really important to keep people's bandwidths in mind because it doesn't just have to do with time and money. It's so much about the capacity that someone has to handle different levels of projects.
Yeah, especially when you make that first hire, like they're gonna have their hands in as much shit as you do. And if you're anything like us, like we have our hands in so many fucking different projects. Yeah. So it is really important to keep that in mind. And if things are falling through the cracks, definitely just try to take accountability and say like, where could this be coming from? If I'm giving them enough time and enough motivation, but like they can only do so much, especially when they're not you. Yeah. Because it's like these things could be, first nature for you. Right. But for someone else, like you also have to keep in mind, like as much as this person might be like dedicated and love the business, they will just never have your same exact hustle because it's your baby. Yeah. It is your business. So, these are things that you have to keep in mind. We all want like the perfect employee that's going to be super dedicated, but it's like at the end of the day, this is a job for them.
Yeah. And you can't expect that from them. Mm-hmm. Like it's not fair of you to expect that from someone else. If it's not their business and they don't have share in it, you know, I think that's an important thing to know is like, you should not even expect that from someone. And also a big part of it is like the control aspect. I think we have especially when something is your baby and you are so invested in it, like letting go of some of that control it's not easy thing to do, but you have to just trust that like you have the foundation in place that like, even if an email sent out without your exact wording that you would have done, that like your content will speak for itself, or like other things will speak for itself, and not be so fucking anal and micromanagement because it's a slippery slope.
100%. And like people, like even when it comes to like assistants and hiring someone, for something as simple as emails, like that person is never going to have the same exact verbiage as you. Yeah. And like that is something that you kind of just have to come to terms with. Yeah. Like, but you also have to trust their intelligence and say like, okay, well, if they would send it like that, then I'm sure it's fine. Yeah. And then the brand responds back, sent from iPhone. It's like, like are these really small details do they matter in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, I love that you said that, because that's so freaking true. Another huge lesson that we kind of learned like earlier on, I think, in the process,
a little too early on,
with one of our first real clients, was not to take shit personally. Guys, we really do preach this. I mean, we read the 4 agreements. It's something,
I'm rereading it right now.
It's a topic we've talked about multiple times on the show, especially before we rebranded, is this theory of just not taking anything personally, and it's so much easier said than done. But now it's relating to our work, which is kind of a different side of it.
You know, someone can call me a bitch in traffic, and I'm like, I know that has nothing to do with me.
Right.
But when we deliver a huge Dropbox of photos
that we're proud of,
and we will never deliver something that we are not
proud of,
100% proud of, and are like, the brand is gonna love this. Like,
right.
If we didn't think that the brand would absolutely love it, we will reshoot. Like, we take a lot of pride in our work. But like I said, when we deliver the photos and they respond back, and it's just like extremely ungrateful and unappreciative. And I understand, like, if you don't like the photos, for sure. However, I feel like there's a way to say everything.
There is a way to say everything, and I think it was just
it's almost just etiquette.
It is etiquette,
because, you know, like,
but also,
there's rules with like constructive criticism where it's like, say,
you start with something nice.
Start with something nice.
First rule,
we have feelings.
You start with something nice.
You do.
We're human.
And you know, we received this email back from a brand, and it was just like, and the thing is, and we really did actually go above and beyond. Like, we delivered twice as many deliverables,
which also we learned a great lesson from too, is to not over deliver as much as we were, because at first we were like,
why not just give them all the photos?
The more the merrier, and that will make them more likely to work with us again, because they see that we're generous with our content. But then we were like, that also like kind of devalues our packages.
It does, yeah,
which is something that we had to learn by doing.
Exactly. But back to the story, they had responded and were just really unappreciative, like only responded with negative things, which, you know, we were,
at first it really got us down. And
I mean, I received that email and I cried because they were unhappy with the photos. Like, it just didn't, like, they said it didn't align with like the mood board, or that we had only hit 2 inspos on the mood board. But it's also like, we never guaranteed to do every photo on that inspo board, because it's a million different shoots.
And it's definitely something to take with a grain of salt, because it's like, there's a balance to it, because we looked at it and we're like, okay, she has some points in here that we can definitely, you know, if we're sitting here and saying we're going to take accountability, let's do it. There's definitely some notes that we can take home from this. But also, let's acknowledge the fact that she didn't say one nice thing about our work. So that goes to show about the type of, you know, client that they are. That has nothing to do with us. It almost made me feel better when I saw that she didn't say one nice thing, because then I was like, oh, okay, that's just how this is. Like, that's just
her energy.
That's just like the type of person they are, the team they are, whatever it is. So, but it's interesting because you know, that happened, and then with a few other clients we didn't receive the best feedback, or just what you're hoping for is always to get a raving review, especially when it's something you're proud of. So to get feedback that was like anything but raving, of course there's a little sting of hurt and disappointment, but that is just the nature of the business, I think. And I don't think, you know, you could be Beyonce and people are still gonna hate you type 100%. Shit. Like,
also, just to throw this out there, we did an entire reshoot for that person and they were still ungrateful. So just throwing that out there.
But you know what? We have to have those type of clients to then eventually get to the place where we can say no to a lot of clients, because I want to get to a place where, you know, we're only working with clients that we love and have great relationships with, which we'll get there one day, you know? But until then, we have to go through a few ones that we don't absolutely love.
Gotta kiss a few frogs to find our prince.
Yeah, but it's, you know, it's a process, and that's just the reality.
That's business, baby.
That's the reality of starting a business, you know?
That's showbiz.
It really is.
And we also want to get to a place, just throwing this out there, where for mood, we're only shooting retainer clients that we already have like an established relationship in, like mutual respected relationship. We understand their vibe completely. They know exactly what they're getting from us every time.
They trust our work ethic. They trust our, you know, the quality of our work. And also, I just want to give, I've had to explain to a few of my just like normal friends who aren't in the industry what exactly mood is. So I want to give, sorry if this is a little out of place, but just for anyone wondering, because I feel like it would be hard to understand our references if you don't really understand what our business is. We're a creative agency. We create, specifically right now, we're mostly focused on creating content for brands to use and small businesses to use for their social media, their website, etc. They can use it on printed things, but mostly it's just for online usage. So the way a brand would hire us as influencers to create the content and post the content, we're doing something very similar, except we're not posting anything anywhere. We're simply just creating the content and sending it to the brand so that they can do whatever they please with that content.
Yeah, and essentially we realized that there was a gap in the market for this because, you know, brands want content that's created by and with influencers, but don't necessarily need the influencers posting. And, you know, we have such a vast network here in Miami of, I feel like I said that weird, Miami of models and influencers. And we were like, we need to take advantage of this. And me being a photographer and Olivia being my original muse, it just made the most sense.
Yeah, and another thing to note is a lot of, like, when you see a photo shoot, it's usually a big production with agency models and locations and these huge crews of at least, you know, if you're talking a big client,
stylist, makeup
the crew
artist
could be 10 plus people. But
easily.
So I mean, this is like thousands and thousands and thousands of, you know, tens of thousands of dollars to produce a shoot of this scale, and we are offering that on a smaller scale for a more affordable price for
small
smaller
businesses.
So if there's any confusion, I hope that cleared it up, that clarified it. We pretty much deal with setting up the location, booking the model, styling the shoot,
set design,
the actual photography, editing the photos,
the reels, the video,
doing short form videos for their, whenever you see like a Facebook ad pop up, that's you know,
us.
That's a content creation that someone created. That's a short form video that they produced to use it as an ad. Okay. I hope I got that.
And if you guys do have
way.
any additional questions, please feel free to shoot us
yeah,
a message either on Whiskey and Water or at Mood the Agency.
Yeah.
And if you don't already follow us, that's a plug. Follow it.
Go follow us. So other than, you know, learning on another level not to take things personally, I think what goes hand in hand with that is just not associating our self-worth with our work. But it's hard because then it's like when they send us, you know, things that are very complimentary and they say they love it, it's like,
oh, I let that go straight to my ego.
How do you be happy about that and then, you know, try to disconnect from the negative? It's like the double-edged sword. You kind of can't have the best of both worlds there.
I mean, you know, like, I think that you can. I mean, I can. I mean, I'm trying at least. But I do feel like when someone does say something negative, like, of course, like, my first instinct is to be very upset, offended, you know, like, or disappointed in myself also, because I'm like, okay, where did I miss the mark?
Right.
Because, you know, I feel like we consider ourselves pretty self-aware people, and that kind of exudes into every aspect of our business as well. Like,
true.
So it's like, where did we
not read the room here?
Yeah, like, where is the disconnect?
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then, you know, we just chop it up to
it's not on our end.
It's not on our end.
It's you know, sometimes that's what it is though. It just simply is not on your end, and you have to just be okay with that and surrender to it.
Because, like, you know, you're speaking almost different languages, and this can go for like friendships. This can go for gossip. Like, you know, you can only control the way you say something, not how someone else is going to take it, which can also go for your work. Like, you can know that you did the best job that you could, and, you know, you did your best. And if they don't like it, that's on them. If you know that you did your best. And, you know, like I said, and another analogy for that is like, if you're talking to a friend and you're trying to, you know, communicate with them something that, you know, that hurt you or whatever it may be, and they just don't perceive it the way you intended, at least you know that you did the best job that you could, and you can't control how they're going to perceive it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great lesson, not only in business but in life. Like, a lot of times if I ever feel guilty, or not that I do often, but if I feel any sort of like a shame or guilty, even like, you know, this relates to a casting that I went on a few weeks ago where I walked out and I just like didn't feel great about it. And I kind of was feeling negative and like, you know, started to get that self-talk, that talking down to myself. And then I asked myself, did I try my best? Yes, I did. And that's all I can ask myself of.
Mm-hmm.
And I dropped it and I let it go. I did my best. I mean, period.
Period, sis.
What else do
She probably still booked the job.
What else do I want? No, it was because they fucking put a last minute role on me while I was in the casting. And I'm like, I didn't prepare for this.
She's like, I didn't do my lines.
I didn't do my lines. But yeah, that's what it was. And then I was just like, I did my best and that's all I can do. And I drove away and I left my emotions behind me at the fucking casting.
Hell yeah, sister.
Period. Another thing that I really learned is to not undervalue ourselves and our work and our mental health.
And when she says that, she means we're charging more money.
We're charging more money because I don't know what the fuck we were thinking when we started. I swear to God. Like, we were on drugs when we made our original prices.
I mean, I don't even know where we came up with those numbers.
And honestly, it is hard because I do think our industry influencers get paid a lot for what we do. So it's hard when you compare it.
Yeah.
But also, you know, we considering the effort and the energy and really the level of service we try to provide our clients and the ease we try to provide them. I mean, we are always 110%. And if we're not, we'll redo it. Like,
yeah,
we're committed.
Of course. And not to mention the value that they get from it.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
they're making sales off these pics.
They're making sales, they're running ads, the usage, like if anyone else was shooting these images and like, I know that they would be charging a lot more. Like, not to mention we pay the models, we pay the for the location that's included in our package. So that's what makes it easy for these brands, but also that's why it is a little more like strenuous on our part, and we want to make it as affordable as possible while also making it sustainable for us, because it's like, you know, after we pay the models and pay for the locations, it's just...
And when you count the hours too, because there's pre-production hours where we plan everything and then we actually shoot the damn thing. And then there's post-production hours where Jess is editing the pictures, I'm editing the video, we're making selects,
not to mention
final edits.
Hiring Caroline now to handle that. Like, you know, that's an additional expense that we need to take into account.
Yeah, so it's a lot.
It is a lot. And to sum it up, we have now changed our pricing twice.
And it will probably change again.
100%. I mean, I hope it will.
Which is fine.
I hope we're charging more.
Which is fine. And that's a natural evolution that I think just should be expected.
100%. But I mean, we actually changed our first pricing tier like really soon after.
After the first round of clients.
We were like, we cannot be doing this for this little money.
Yeah.
So that changed very quickly. But recently, we onboarded quite a few clients for June, and we just realized, like, supply and demand, baby.
We are in demand.
And if we want to continue to scale, we need to be making more money.
And if we want an office and if we want to get a full-time employee, it's like, but our goal is always, and I think this is great for anyone listening, like the goal is always to be fair. Like,
we're not trying to price gouge anyone.
Yeah, not that anyone listening, not that our brothers would have the wrong intentions, but just like I think in business in general, like karma is huge. And I think when you're just fair with other people, they'll be fair with you, and it needs to be a mutually beneficial relationship, you know.
100%.
I mean, the goal is to keep things affordable, but to also feel like we are being fairly compensated for our efforts and time.
And not to mention, if a brand did come to, like, a smaller brand and they were like, hey, I really only need these photos for, you know, Instagram content, it's going to be really simple, like, we're totally fair on that as well.
Yeah, we're always willing to negotiate and work with brands and just see, because also the easier it is for us to shoot, it's almost like, you know, the less time and effort it takes, the better on our end.
Yeah.
But that's something that we definitely learned, is to not undersell ourselves, or I don't know what the word would be. Underprice. Yeah. Know your worth, kings and queens.
You're not wrong.
Know your worth. And the value of, I think, your time and your bandwidth is huge too. Because it's also not even just time, it's also bandwidth.
I mean, it's bandwidth, and I know that I have a lot more bandwidth when I know that I'm making more money.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean? Totally.
Because, like, when you're like, when we're creating, and this happens, you know, during influencing as well. Like, you know, sometimes we take, a rate for something that's pretty well below our rate, but we're like, we can knock it out really quick. It's easy.
And then you'll get to a point where it's like you can make a decision to go the extra mile or not. And if you feel like you're not being fairly compensated, you won't go the extra mile.
You won't go the extra mile. And also, while you're creating it, you'll be fucking annoyed.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, how many times have we been creating content and we're like,
we're not getting paid
enough for this. So it's like
the worst feeling is feeling like you're being underpaid. And that's something that goes for like when we start to hire employees too, because that's something we're huge on is like, if you're training this person, we will pay you for those hours.
Yeah.
Like, I never want to be that.
It's paid training, and it's paid for, like, in our instance right now, like we're paying Kennedy to train Caroline and we're paying Caroline to get trained.
I never want to be that boss who isn't paying people for their time or energy. Like, no, fuck that.
And I mean, it really is crazy though, because I hear of these people like
getting used and abused.
I mean, getting used and abused, and also like just asking someone how much they get paid for their desk job, and it's like minimum wage, or it's like $10 an hour, $11 an hour,
which is not even livable.
It's not livable. And although we don't really give livable hours right now because that's not what we're capable of.
But we will one day.
But I feel like we do compensate fairly.
Yeah, to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
I mean, considering we're not even paying ourselves, I think we're doing a pretty good
Which leads us into our next point. We do not pay ourselves.
And I don't know. I wonder if they teach this in business school. We should just do a whole episode. I wonder if they teach this in business school.
We should just have on a business school professor.
Yeah, literally. But I wonder if they do teach you about at what point you start cutting yourself a check. Because everything we've made so far, guys, is literally we have not touched.
I mean, that goes for whiskey and water. And mood,
other than reimbursing ourselves for whatever,
which is rare because we have a business card, so we
put it on the biz card.
That is, guys, I can't tell you the feeling that comes over me when I get to pay for our coffees with the business card.
I mean, we're discussing business.
I'm like, the $10 coffee, that does it for me. I'm like, you don't need to pay me. The serotonin I just received is more than enough payment. And I also think it's a really like new nuance of the business that we like don't pay ourselves, because it's kind of backwards, because it's like, you start a business to make money, to pay yourself. But essentially, like, it's obviously a different case for us because Mood is essentially our side hustle, right? So what we're doing is we're leaving all of the side hustle money in the side hustle, and we are like, how we support our lifestyles right now is completely through like at Olivia PW and at the Jessica Experience,
our personal brands,
and whatever odd jobs like modeling, and for me it's a little bit of Casa. But what I feel like allows us to put it away right now is the separate bank account. And I feel like when a lot of people start their own business, they don't like create a separate business account. Like they don't separate themselves from the business. So for us, it's easy because it's like, it's a completely different bank account.
We don't even see that money. And especially for me, because the bank that we have our business with, I don't even have my personal account with. So like literally,
you never look at it.
I mean, only when I want to check on it. But like other than that, I don't see what's going on in there.
It's a separate account for me too. I don't see it when I'm like just banking. I have to like go in and log in separately. Yeah. But I feel like
it's better that way.
It's 100% better that way. You know what
it is? It's a piggy bank.
You're not wrong. It really is.
I mean, in theory, yes.
And that's what allows us to kind of have that separation, because I feel like when you're your own business, like when it's like your own thing. So like, let's say, for Casa, I do not have Casa separated from myself. So it's a lot harder for me to track.
A blurry line, yeah.
It really is a super blurry line, because I'm buying items with like my personal money, but I'm also paying myself directly, which honestly, I don't feel like it's sustainable. I would not recommend it.
0 out of 10 recommend.
0 out of 10, because I don't know what I'm making and I don't know what I'm spending, because it's just in my normal bank account. And I have so many transactions that are going on that it would be so difficult to track. So track it. That's something that I am going to be separating here soon. But it's a lesson that I had to learn. And it allows us to like leave that money in Mood, because eventually we would like to reinvest it. So right now we're leaving all of that in there to save up for a office. So hopefully maybe in the next 6 months, maybe early 2021. Yeah.
And it's funny because we had set the goal to have our office by like March/April. Here we are in June.
And I mean, the thing is, we technically kind of could.
It would just, we wouldn't be like comfortable.
We wouldn't be comfortable,
but that's okay. Like, and we even said before, like, fuck goals, not fuck goals. You have to set them, but also make goals with the intention of knowing that they are going to change, be pushed, etc., etc. But it's so funny.
Don't get down on yourself because of it either.
No, I mean, I'm so proud of like the progress we've made in the 6 months and everything we've learned.
I mean, we've hit a lot of the other goals.
Yeah, like, and it's also, it's a momentum type of thing. And like once you get the ball rolling on things, it's like what do they call it? Interest, like compound interest, in the way that it works when you get the momentum rolling and the ball rolling. It's like it's just going to keep that pace up times 2 times 3 times, you know, it's just going to keep adding up. So I don't feel any sort of anything towards it, but it's funny because we are so like, we can be very over ambitious, because I see the same thing happen with even the real estate goals I had set for myself. I was like,
I'm gonna have 20 doors.
I was so sure. And it's funny, but it's good because it's like, shoot for the moon or shoot for the stars, land on the moon, you know? I mean,
shoot for the moon, land among the stars.
But aren't stars further out than the moon?
Okay, you are asking the wrong bitch.
They are. That's why I changed it. Guys, let us know. What's closer, the moon or the stars?
Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. Because that was actually a banner in my...
in your second grade class?
Yes. Exactly.
Literally same.
That's the only reason I know that information is because I'm reading it in my head.
Photographic memory. Anyways, yeah, but that was a good lesson for us and something we learned. It's just like, you know, goals are going to change.
Be overly ambitious.
Definitely.
What do you have to lose?
Definitely.
And
as long as you're like self-aware and you don't get down on yourself for not hitting those goals in the time frame that you wanted.
100%. And I feel like, you know, we did hit pretty much every other goal that we wanted to hit. And I mean, I'm super proud of where we've gotten. Even if we don't necessarily have an office, I don't feel like we're not in super need of one. Like, I would rather get to a place where it's like, okay, we have to get an office.
Totally. Like right now it would
Trust
be...
me, I'm kind of getting there.
Mentally,
in a few more months.
There. Mentally, we're there, but physically, I don't think we're there yet. And
she means money. No, I'm kidding.
Well, yeah, and also just, you know, what we want to use it for is the podcast studio and storage and a place to just like have a workspace where we can just be free to think and creatively, and have a place for our employees to sit down and work with us collaboratively.
And, you know, like whenever Kennedy and Caroline end up moving down to South Florida, I would love a place for them to come and work. And hopefully, you know, Caroline, by that time, will have more hours with us. So it'll make more sense to have us like in office. And
guys, I can't wait till we have our office and we can share it with you guys.
And I feel like it's just going to be like, part of me is like, okay, offices are fucking like over. But part of me is like, you know, having that one-on-one collaborative time where she can literally look over and be like, Jess, what do you think about this? Or can I send out this email? And me being yes, that time is fucking priceless.
And it's such a mindset thing. You sit down and you're at work.
It is.
And versus working from home and it's all over the place and you hop on a call and you text here and you text there. Yeah. It's just a different streamlined process.
Which is what we're used to. But I feel like really to get into scale, like, you know, every like major business has a fucking headquarters or an office or anything of the sort.
Yeah. Guys, I'm so excited for the episode where we sit down and we tell you we just signed our lease for our office. Brothers, you're coming along with us for the ride.
I could cry right now thinking about it.
I'm so excited. And I know we're going to get there.
We just
have to be patient.
And I've even been like looking into to offices just to see like what's out there, what's within our price range, what's realistic. So, you know, like we are manifesting it.
Yes.
We just want a large nest egg in the bank account. Definitely. And, you know, we want to make sure that we have like multiple retainer clients that could, you know, in the worst case scenario, like, you know, pay for the fucking office for the next year or whatnot.
And when talking about things like making business investments like that, it's hard to know. One, it's hard to know at what point do you take a cut? Like going back to that conversation, because it's like we could always keep reinvesting into the company, if not another company. Yeah. So like literally at what point do you ever pay yourself? Two, it's hard to know when scaling like what comes first, because even like I had asked you the other day, I'm like, I don't know the answer to this, but I'm going to voice it so to see what you think. But like, what comes first, making someone full-time or an office, and it's like it kind of just goes together.
And it's like I don't feel like there's rules. And what I told her was like, I feel like they can be simultaneous, you know. Obviously, you know, we can't do both, but I'm saying like
right now,
but you know, we can make the step to get an office and give her more hours, or we can, you know, we can see what naturally comes first, you know. It doesn't need to be, you know,
a one before the other type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's just hard to know, because it's like you want to have some sort of like, I think our brains naturally resort to like having some concrete plan, you know. So it's like my brain's like, wait, but I need to know like what comes first, or like what our goal is, so I can like work towards it. But really, it's we have to just let it flow.
Yeah, and I'm such like a free flowing person that I'm like,
naturally.
It'll happen naturally, and I know it will. And you know, we just have to put, you know, our faith out there.
And I think it's just something that a lot of small business owners can relate to. Is like what comes first.
Also, I feel like that's where, you know, like mentors can really come into play.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And things of that nature.
Are we sleeping on a mentor? Let us know. DM us.
If you want to be our mentor, let us know.
Another thing that I've learned, and it really has like, it's changed the way I kind of operate and the way like I plan things too, is just to assume that everything will take a little bit longer than you expect it to, and will be a little bit harder than you expect it to. And then if it doesn't, great. You just gave yourself some buffer room to breathe, or whatever it is. But like, I don't know, when it comes to either shooting or a meeting with someone, or just a call, like always kind of block out a little bit more time than you think. Like even best, you're like, you know, we're going to stay on track. It's fine. We really only need 30 minutes for it. I don't know. Make it 45 just in case.
That's where you should not be overly ambitious.
Yeah.
Because that's also how you burn yourself out.
Absolutely.
Like working while feeling rushed or pressured
is literally my worst fucking.
Yeah, I know. And honestly, it's a huge lesson for me, because I can be just an absolute crackhead sometimes and be like, no, we can do everything and do whatever.
You're like, we can definitely shoot 3 clients in an hour. And I'm like, no, we cannot.
Yes. So, you know, it's a balance.
I'm like, if we want to jump off the balcony at the end of the day, sure.
And I'm like, yeah, why not?
She's like, that was my plan. But yeah, I think
you weren't planning on jumping off?
Definitely whiskey and water of us, I think. Like, that's totally on brand. But it's something I'm learning, just like eat more and more with every single client. I'm like, okay, this took longer than expected, and more mental energy than expected.
Because the rushing will take up more fucking bandwidth.
It's like you're just burning fuel at a faster rate.
But also like the idea of being like, fuck, we only have an hour. Like, if you weren't thinking about it, like, yeah, even maybe you could accomplish a little bit more. But like the fact that you are stressing about rushing is what like really fucks you over.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yes, because it's like, I don't know, that additional, it's the pressure. It's the additional pressure in a pressure cooker, and I feel like I'm just gonna freaking implode.
Yeah, and then it's just really not conducive to work, because
like trying to be creative,
and then also just trying to like have a good working relationship, because then
trying to communicate,
because then we will get frustrated with each other and be like, time check is now. We stop talking shit, we need to do this, or you know, like, we need to do this. So it's not conducive to really anything.
Yeah. So I've learned just like when it is in regard to time, and then also when it's in regard to bandwidth, like taking on, you know, definitely like, because we are setting our own pace here, being really careful not to take on too many clients at one time. And even if we do, say our schedule looks clear for the next 3 weeks, like great, but also we are not running this as our only sole full-time project. You know, this is one of the many pillars of the things that we do. Yeah. So we have to take that into consideration when we're thinking about how much energy we can put towards it.
And I think it's also a good testament to like not comparing ourselves to other people, because it's like, yes, this is only one of the things that we do. So it's like, it's easy to look at someone else's business and be like, damn, they're scaling so fast. But it's like, that's all they're doing.
I literally just see it as a pie chart in my head.
Yeah.
I see it as, okay, 30% into this, 40% into that. I can't do math, but
You're at 80.
But it has to, like, what are we giving mood, and what are we giving casa,
and what are we giving ourselves?
What are we giving ourselves? And we have to fucking cook meals for ourselves and work out and take a shower. Like, girl. But yeah, that's just something else to also keep in mind, and something we've learned along the way is just like really take that into consideration and allot time, if not a lot fucking cognitive space for everything that you're
cognitive
space. I read. But take that into consideration when you're debating. For us, it's debating if we want to take on another client this month, if we can do it, if we have the mental ability to take it on.
I mean, to be frank with y'all, June is looking like a hell of a fucking month. So we'll keep you updated in a couple weeks on how everything is going, because it is going to be challenging. We did bite off not more than we can chew, but a fat chunk.
The most that we've ever taken on.
Yeah. But who are we to say no to money?
But we also have the help of Caroline, which is going to help immensely. Yeah. And we're really going to like use the next round as like kind of a, what's it called? Like a gauge. Yeah. A gauge of like how many clients we can handle at once.
How do we feel about it? Like how is the process running? Like, how much is hiring Caroline taking off of our plates, which I think will be an immense help, because essentially she's going to be handling everything pre and post production, aside from, like the shooting and the editing. Like,
we have to show up and do our job.
We have to show up, do our job. We're going to have to edit a little bit after, but she's going to be handling all of like the client emails, all of the mood boards, all of the call sheets, like those things that take a lot of mental bandwidth from us.
Yeah. It's a lot of administrative tasks too that are just tedious, but I'm super excited, and June's looking like it's going to be a really great month for mood. And hot girl summer is starting, and we're just ready to fucking balls to the wall.
We really are. This is going to be a busy ass summer. I mean, not that we're summer is even a fucking concept to us anymore. Literally,
what's summer? Like, first, we're in Florida. Life. Second, we're not in school. Summer does not apply to us. Like, we have no summer.
Like, what are we talking about? Summer. This is life.
The only thing summer is good for is like Instagram captions at this point. Because
summertime fine. Caption yesterday.
I mean, summer's around the corner.
Aside from that, but
yeah, I mean, that's it. We just wanted to catch you guys up on where we're at. I hope some of this was
insightful,
relatable, if for anyone who is starting a business or in a
wants
business.
to think about starting a business. Like, I truly genuinely hope that some of our fuck ups and some of our our speed bumps can really help propel you into success.
Yeah, and make you avoid some mistakes maybe going into it. I mean, we're always going to just learn by doing.
And you need to make mistakes,
of course. But, if we can help in any way, help you either save money, save time, save energy, help you not take something personally because it's not personal, whatever it is, we hope that this was helpful.
Yeah, and if you guys ever do have, like situations where you need insight or you feel like you need someone to talk to, our DMs are always open. We always check them. So shoot us a message. We'll address it in our next episode. We are always here for you guys.
Yeah, not to mention our Patreon that we're starting in season 8, and we will definitely be incorporating like so many new fun things. I definitely want to have like question and answer things. Maybe we can do, I don't really know what the platform is like, how interactive it is, but we want to connect with you guys as much as we fucking possibly can, and just really get even more, in touch with you guys.
In touch, and just like really niche down on like little, stuff that we want to talk about, whether it's like negotiating or, deep diving on, the fucking drama that's going on with mood and how we're dealing with things.
Or personally and personal development. Like, that's what we talked about a lot before we rebranded, and I kind of miss that stuff. So that's where everything of that nature will be on the Patreon now, and we're super excited.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated on that.
But yeah, that about wraps it all up. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes. It would be so greatly appreciated.
Share this with a friend that is interested in any of these topics or that you feel like could get value from this.
Yeah, or if you're feeling super amazing today, you can take a screenshot and post it on your story and tag us and let us know you're listening, because this is the first us episode. I think it might be all season.
It might be.
We really haven't done it in a hot minute, and we also want to include more us episodes, I think, in season 8 too.
Yeah.
So let us know if you guys have any ideas. We love you, and have an amazing week. We will see you next week.
Bye, brothers.
Bye.